This is think school. Iran declared war. Why did America kill Iran's supreme leader? Yeah, let's just check this out. Let's just check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the entire Middle East is burning right now.
Well, it's like the U.S. struck Iran. Iran started striking everywhere. And even before that, Afghanistan and Pakistan declared war. So literally the Middle East is going up in flames, is literally going up in flames.
The United States and Israel launched coordinated strikes on Iran.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
The U.S. launching fighter jets, missiles, and drones after a massive U.S. military buildup across the region.
In the last few hours, Iran has been attacked by Israel and America, and in response, Iran has crossed all its limits to launch an attack on UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and even Saudi Arabia.
And just striking random locations. They don't care what they're hitting. It's not like a striking military infrastructure. They're just striking whatever they can hit.
Iran's deadly revenge has begun. In hours of massive U.S.-Israel strikes on Tehran, ballistic missiles lit up the skies across the Middle East, targeting 4 major American military bases.
And they have attacked the luxury hotels of Palm Jumeirah. Drones are circling around Burj Khalifa, and Dubai, perhaps the safest place on earth, has now shut its airport down. This isn't a random escalation. The world is closer to war now than ever. Israel has successfully killed Iran's Minister of Defense, Iran's head of military intelligence, the commander of Iran's army. And now Ayatollah Khomeini is dead. And what's even scary is that Iran has now promised that the most devastating, most horrific, and the most offensive operation in history will be conducted by the armed forces of Iran.
צה"ל יצא הבוקר יחד עם צבא ארצות הברית למבצע שאגה תארי. בתקיפה זו חיסלנו את ראשי האגפים ואת רוב הנהגת המיניסטריון.
The supreme leader of Iran has been killed.
Iranian officials have vowed a crushing response, declaring all U.S. and Israeli assets in the region legitimate targets.
See, this is why sometimes I'm glad that I actually have a job. I've been out. I knew this started, and I'm just like, I work for a living. And then I watch this and just like, oh my gosh, the world's in a crap storm. See, that's the thing. It's the people who tend to just have a normal, everyday job, come home to their wife, give them a hug, a kiss, say hi to the family. You know, they are the ones, they're like the backbone of a nation. They really are. It's not the ones who are chronically online watching this stuff play out, because this is just depressing. This is absolutely depressing to just see. I mean, is the supreme leader being taken out a good thing? I mean, again, just like with Maduro being taken out, time will tell. 5 to 10 years, as long as the Iranian people can put in new infrastructure, but they're going to have to take the nation for themselves. But yeah, but the thing is, now that more nations have been struck, other nations will be calling for blood from Iran. So will Iran be torn into pieces and separated among other nations? That's what's the thing is? It's just like it's who knows. Who knows where it ends up? But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's so much better just going to work, coming back, watching some funny videos. But when you actually see this kind of stuff, it's just like, oh my gosh, this world's falling apart. It's absolutely just falling apart.
The question is, suddenly, how did the world fall at the brink of war? Why did Israel and America attack Iran? Why did Iran attack Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain? And where exactly is the world heading right now? People creating this entire case study took days of research and days of non-stop razor-sharp focus. And somewhere in the middle of all that, a question hit me. In a world full of Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, how do you actually stay focused for hours of deep work? For most of us, the answer is simple. Coffee in the morning, maybe an energy drink later. But here's the problem. They give you energy, but they also give you jitters and sudden crash.
World is celebrating Diwali and Indians are celebrating Holi. I guess. I haven't celebrated either, so it doesn't really mean much to me. It doesn't really mean much to me. That's the thing. I need to be in India for those celebrations. I have to. And of course, I also want to go to that small little village for the poop throwing competition. I really do. My wife will probably not see me for about a month after that, but I think it would be interesting. I really do. But yeah, seeing this kind of thing is I'd have no wife after the poop throwing competition. Oh my gosh. You said it, not me. Not me. But yeah, I mean, this is very sad. This is very sad.
Link is in the description.
My wife is Hindi.
The story of Iran and Israel began
Hindu.
in May 2025 when the International Atomic Energy Agency stated that Iran possesses 60% enriched uranium. Now, enrichment is a slightly complex concept, but let me explain to you in simple terms. You see, uranium is a metal found beneath the Earth's surface, but that uranium contains an atom called U-235, which is used to make nuclear bombs. Now, natural uranium contains only 0.7% U-235, but enrichment is a process where these U-235 atoms are heavily concentrated in one place. And whenever anyone takes the percentage of U-235 concentration to 90%, the world goes on high alert because it clearly says that that nation is preparing to build a nuclear weapon. Look at this table. 3 to 5% enrichment is used in power plants. 10 to 20% enriched uranium is used for medical purposes. And about 90% it becomes weapons-grade uranium. And now the International Atomic Energy Agency believes that Iran has crossed 60% enriched uranium and it is now approaching 90%, which is weapons-grade uranium. That is why the entire world from Israel to America is on high alert because now the world is suspecting that in just a few days, Iran will have its own nuclear bomb. And as we all know, America takes nuclear bombs very, very seriously. So seriously,
even tried to stop India from doing their nuclear tests and everything. I still need to see that film, Rocketry. I still need to see that. I think that's based on the nuclear bomb. No, wait, that's a different film, I think. But yeah, that's the thing. It's just like the U.S. doesn't want what? Polkram. Yes. Sorry. Rocketry is about going to space. But yeah. Nobody should have that kind of power. Like, I guess you could say having nuclear power is a great thing if you actually have, like, you don't want what happened in Japan to happen anywhere else in the world because they had an earthquake and then it flooded and then now it's completely a radioactive zone and nobody can live in that area in Japan because it was just the nuclear plant malfunctioned. But it would make it would be so freaking good for people to actually have that kind of source of energy. We don't have them in the U.S. because apparently nuclear power bad. I don't know. I mean, uranium, there's nothing you can really do with it. I mean, I still think we should launch those to Mars so that way we give Mars an atmosphere. We toss all those uranium, like, you know, the isotopes after they've burned out. You just toss them to Mars, and then Mars would develop an ozone after a while. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like I don't know where I'm at on that, honestly, when it comes to, like, I don't think anyone needs nuclear power. I don't think anyone should have it. But now that it's like the Pandora's box, once it's opened, you can never shut it again. You never can.
That whenever a country tried to build a nuclear weapon, America and Israel teamed up to destroy the country. For example, in 1981, when Iraq tried to build a nuclear reactor, Israel dropped bombs on Iraq's nuclear facilities, rendering them absolutely powerless. And that is where Saddam Hussein's downfall began.
In August 1978, the Israeli government, headed by Menachem Begin, received dramatic information regarding the existence of a nuclear reactor in Iraq.
June 1981, 8 fighter jets are spotted in the skies over Baghdad, preparing to attack. Target, the pride and joy of Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein.
Complete radio silence, the jets reached their target, and one after the other dropped 2 bombs each on the dome of the reactor.
Similarly, in 2007, Israel attacked Syria to stop it from building a nuclear bomb. And now, in 2026, Iran is just about to build a nuclear bomb, and Israel is trying to stop Iran. But here the question is, Iran is not the only country to build a nuclear bomb, right? America and Russia already have nuclear bombs. India, UK, France, China, even Pakistan and North Korea have nuclear bombs today. In fact, the whole world suspects that even Israel has a nuclear bomb.
Yep.
But when the world has no problem with North Korea or Pakistan, what is the problem with Iran possessing a nuclear bomb? Well, that is because
it's the what is it called? The core belief, like death to America, death to the Jews, death to Israel, you know, their entire chant. That enough explains it. I mean, no one should be believing death to anyone. That's just North Korea views itself as the top of the world, but they also aren't stupid enough to say, oh, death to this, death to that, death to that. I mean, they're not stupid enough to. I mean, it's like you're literally talking to a bully and telling him, oh, I'm gonna beat you up as soon as I have, like, no, the bully's gonna keep punching you down, preventing you from gaining any muscle. That's just how it works, and it's what happened to Iran. If they would have never said anything, kept their heads down, and well, we would have ended up in a nuclear fallout zone, because as you can see by their retaliation of the supreme leader being killed, they're just launching them all over the place. Imagine if they had nukes. They would have just launched them all over the place.
Because Iran is capable of strangling the entire world economy. And there are 3 points to support this case. First of all, Iran's supreme leader himself has said that Israel is a cancerous tumor that must be eradicated. So while all other countries keep nuclear bombs only for their defense, Iran is building a nuclear bomb just to attack Israel. And think about it. Israel is such a small country that a single nuclear strike can destroy the entire country of Israel. In fact, Iran's ballistic missiles can reach Israel in just 8 minutes. Now think about this. Even without a nuclear bomb, Iran has already funded Hezbollah in Lebanon. They've already funded Hamas in Gaza, Houthis in Yemen, and they've also funded militants in Syria. Now, if you look at the map, Iran has surrounded Israel from all sides. That is why Israel has been on red alert since 1979. Yes, Israel has been on red alert for 40 long years. And Israel is not a country that says we are a peaceful country and we want peace. Israel says, to hell with peace. If the enemy even thinks about attacking us, we will enter their home and we will wipe them out. This is Israel's philosophy. Shoot first, ask questions later. That is why Israel and America...
Yeah, the Netanyahu is like absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
Are attacking Iran so that Iran does not launch a nuclear attack on Israel. This, my friends, is the first reason for the attack on Iran. But now the question is, when Iran is Israel's enemy, what is America doing in this conflict? Well, look at this map.
Well, the thing is, it's like it's the same thing. Iran wants to destroy everything. Wants to destroy everything. Wants to destroy Israel. Wants to destroy America. Wants to destroy all Western type of culture because it's a blight. An absolute blight. So in the end, it makes sense to eradicate the one threat. Hopefully things change, but no matter what, you never get rid of evil. There's always more out there.
This is the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow sea route that connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. It is located between the south of Iran and the north of Oman, and it is one of the world's largest oil trade passes. It is so important that 20% of the entire world's daily crude oil passes through this.
Muslims in India are crying because Iran leader died. Well, the thing is, there are a bunch of liberal white women and transgenders in America who are crying for the same reason. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't. Someone who massacred thousands upon thousands, over hundreds of thousands of people during his own regime, of his own people that he massacred, or tortured because women wouldn't wear a hijab or cover themselves. Yeah, no matter what it was. And people are crying for him. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Clinton had a chance to attack North Korea after Kim Sung passed in 1994 to stop them from having nukes, but he chose not to after Black Hawk Down. Yeah, there have been many times. Sometimes getting involved is the worst thing. Like I don't believe the U.S. should be involved in anything. I don't like America's policy of policing the world. It's not America's responsibility to be the police of the world. It really isn't. The only thing that makes sense is like, so if with the Iranian people, when they started to fight for themselves, they started getting mowed down by their own people, and then they were begging for aid. That kind of makes sense when it affects the U.S. personally, like, well, Iran developing nuclear weapons and threatening the U.S., or sending drugs into the U.S. continuously, even when you're called to the table to talk and negotiate, and you're just like, no. Then you end up getting abducted like Maduro. So there are situations, but at the same time, I personally don't believe the U.S. should get involved unless it personally affects the U.S. The problem is like they always find a way for it to personally affect the U.S., which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous because then we end up having soldiers at risk, and we shouldn't be working for that. It's
Strait of Hormuz. And oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iraq, and Kuwait, all of them export their oil through this route. So it's practically the lifeline of the entire.
If U.S. would not be involved, it would not be a superpower for long. No, the U.S. has the largest military in the world by like a massive majority. It's just not in the U.S. It's just not in the U.S. because we have bases in Japan. We have bases all around the world with allies and just, well, our territories, because the U.S. has a massive amount of territories which are basically beholden to the U.S., but they're not a part of the states. That's the thing. Is like a lot of people don't count those as a part of the U.S. when they actually are. Like Greenland, if it got taken in, it would not be a state of the U.S. It would just be affiliated with the U.S. like those other nations or those other provinces. So that's just what it would become, because the U.S. is massive, especially if you include its provinces. Absolutely massive.
Entire world. And if Iran blocks this route, the entire world's oil supply will be blocked. Prices will skyrocket, the chances of global inflation and recession will increase, and the entire world economy could be at threat. So this isn't just a choke point, it is literally the heartbeat of the world's energy system. That is why the whole world is worried about the Strait of Hormuz. And if Iran becomes a nuclear power, Iran will gain so much control over the Strait of Hormuz that even America won't be able to do anything against Iran, because then Iran could use its nuclear power to blackmail America. This is the reason why even America wants to stop Iran's nuclear program. And lastly, if Iran manages to build a nuclear bomb, America is afraid that a race will begin all across the Middle Eastern region, because every country will be scared about Iran attacking them. So from Saudi Arabia to United Arab Emirates, everybody would want to build a nuclear bomb. In fact, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia has openly said that if Iran gets a bomb, so will we.
You concerned, though, Iran gets a nuclear weapon, about them getting a nuclear weapon?
Country use a nuclear weapon, that means they are having a war with the rest of the world.
If they get one, will you?
If they get one, we have to get one.
But you know what's different about this time? This time, Iran has entered a dangerous territory. This time, Iran has attacked UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and even Bahrain. And these attacks have not just happened on American military sites, these attacks have also happened in civilian areas. So the entire Middle East is on red alert, and this time, the Middle Eastern alliance might come together to destroy Iran. And the only hope is Russia and China do not step into this battle, because if they do, the world might be at war. So all we can hope for is for things to settle down, because war is always bad for the world. And more importantly, a nuclear war is a nightmare that we do not want to experience in our lifetime. This is the story of the Iran-Israel conflict of 2026. And all we can hope for is that the world comes to peace as soon as possible. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable from this case study, please hit the like button to support our work. And for more such geopolitical case studies,
yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. The world is just falling apart. Hopefully things mellow out. I don't think China and Russia will get involved, because China and Russia just want their oil. That's it. If the U.S. doesn't literally try to, because that's what caused the issue before. The reason how they ended up with the Supreme Leader was, well, because of the U.S. The U.S. went in and did a regime change, and then that regime change didn't last long, and then the Supreme Leader basically went in and took over. He took over because of the U.S.'s involvement. The U.S. shouldn't have been there in the first place. Should have never gotten involved. That's how we ended up with the last 40 years of Iran's dictatorship, because the U.S. got involved. Iran used to be a utopia. It used to be like an incredibly, like, it looked more West than, well, it looked like what the West does now. Back in the day, 40 years ago, it looked completely different. completely different. But then they basically they had a dictator and implemented a ton of ridiculous laws and all that kind of stuff. Well, I say ridiculous, but they aren't for me. They aren't for me. But it completely changed the nation. And it was America's fault to begin with. So America has no right to be involved in these things and should remove itself from the equation. We took out the supreme leader. Allow the nation to develop for itself. Remove its military. I don't want to say that we should have our military there when its military is removed. That should never come to pass. That should never come to pass, because I don't want to have another Iraq over again, where we're stuck on the battlefield. Literally, our people are there because the nation is completely unstable. Completely unstable because we destabilized it in the first place. Because we originally gave Saddam Hussein the firepower to attack his own people, gain full control, and then build a nuclear weapon. Oh my gosh, it's insane. The Middle East, the U.S. has no right to be involved in. Has absolutely no right. Again, Iran developing a nuclear weapon to threaten the U.S. That makes sense, but stay out of it after that. The U.S. has enough intelligence to know exactly what's going on in other nations, what's exactly a threat, where it's actually headed, but it shouldn't do more than remove the problem. It shouldn't do more than that. It should be like, all right, we had this intel, we knew exactly where it was going, we took care of it, and that's it. And that's it. It's up for the people there to figure it out for themselves. That's how it should be. Oh. It was MI6 that overthrow elected prime minister in Iran in 1953. Truman was not on board. Eisenhower was. He loved people like I can't even pronounce those names. But yeah, it was a complete mess up. It was a complete mess up what we did to Iran. It was the Allied forces that really did it. But it was just the U.S. has the U.S. was primarily the Allied forces and has always been the Allied forces because it's 90% of the Allied forces. 90% of NATO is the U.S. But it's just like the U.S. shouldn't be involved. It really shouldn't. The U.S. should start backing out and start doing because you will never get along with other kinds of mentalities. But you can learn to respect your neighbor, at least. Try and respect your neighbor. Of course, if there's a neighbor that wants you dead, like Iran wanted the U.S. and Israel and anyone that doesn't believe in, their doctrine, that's an absolute, that's a cancer. That's an absolute cancer, and you need to remove a cancer before it gets too big. And that's technically what happened. It sounds bad, but at the same time, it's what you have to do. You don't want to have a neighbor who's going to hunt you down and kill you. You don't.
You guys got a video? Why is it so bad?
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Why is it like that?